the owner and the medical director of the spa at West Glen in West Des Moines, Iowa. Thank you for joining us today. To start off today, I want you to think about a couple of things. I'm going to read some symptoms and think about how often you experience these and how many of them you experience. So, if you have brain fog, confusion, memory lapses, problems concentrating or focusing, if you have allergy symptoms such as runny nose, sneezing, coughing, itchiness, rashes, if you have GI symptoms such as heartburn, reflux, belching, constipation, diarrhea, if you have other symptoms such as muscle pain, joint aches, frequently getting infections, colds, any of those symptoms can be a sign that you are carrying around too many toxins in your body, and that by detoxifying, you could be a lot healthier and feel a lot better. Our modern living really is exposing us to a lot of different chemicals. By the time that you get up in the morning, take a shower, brush your teeth, put on deodorant, put on makeup, style your hair, and eat breakfast, you are exposed to over 100 chemicals just in that process. So our modern day living just is hard. Now, your body does have some built-in mechanisms to deal with these, but because of the barrage that we are exposed to, we really do overwhelm all of those mechanisms. So, what I want to talk about today is I want to teach you a little bit more about where these toxins are coming from, how we're exposed to them, what they can do, and then start talking about some ways that we can deal with detoxifying ourselves. So when we come back, we will learn about toxicity. Welcome back. So today we're talking about toxicity, the toxins that we're exposed to, and how we can help our body deal with them. So first of all, we need to know what a toxin is. Basically, a toxin is any substance that interrupts our biologic system and harms us. So what we are exposed to can kind of fall into three different areas of toxins. One is there are natural toxins or natural chemicals. So these are the ones that Mother Nature has provided us with, and anyone who has run into poison ivy, poison oak, spider bites is very well aware of this type of toxin. Another type is live toxins. In this category, you have your bacteria, viruses, parasites, yeast. So those are your living toxins. And then a very big group is our man-made chemicals. And there are just many, many in this group, and we'll talk about a few in particular today. So how do these toxins harm us? So basically, they get into our bodies in one of three ways. One, we ingest them. This can be eating foods that contain toxins, drinking liquids that contain toxins. So we ingest them. We also inhale them. Anything that you smell is in your body. And unfortunately, a lot of the gaseous toxins are odorless. So we are exposed to things even when we can't smell them. And then the last one is you can take things in through your skin. So you can ingest them, you can inhale them, and they can come in through your skin. So what toxins do to your body is they can do multiple things, but down at the microscopic level, they basically cause cell damage. And when they cause cell damage, they can also change proteins, which can either kill the cell or damage it so it can't function. So if you kill a group of cells, you're also going to get tissue damage, and even more than that, you may have an organ failure. So with tissue damage, one tissue system that is often affected is the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue is very delicate, so that's why you do get symptoms from toxins that include the brain fog, the memory problems, numbness, tingling. So nervous tissue is very delicate and often affected by toxins. Also, your GI system, because you are ingesting them, can also be very affected. 70% of your immune system is in your GI system. So when toxins are in there, that's why you can get recurrent infections, recurrent illnesses, is because your immune system has taken a hit also. In addition to that, there are many other systems in your body that are affected by toxins. So when we are talking about toxins and the ability to detox, you first need to know the culprit. So where is everything coming from? As far as our food, one of the biggest places that we find it is in the soil. So foods start in the soil, fruits, vegetables can come from there. Also, the meat that we eat is in contact with the soil, so the animals are also bringing up and taking in toxins. This includes pesticides, insecticides, everything that we put on the soil and put on the crops gets into our food. So that is one big area. Also with food that's kind of newer is genetic modification. And this is when we take the animal genes or plant genes and kind of mix them to make them hardier, easier to produce. And these modifications don't have anything to do with nutrition. It's just in making things easier to produce. And those, we just don't know what the long-term effect of genetic modification of our food is going to be. But I read one source that said about 70% of what is at the grocery store has undergone genetic modification, so that is a big one. Also, food additives. The food companies have about 3,000 different food additives that they can add to our food that we buy. And it may be to make it more appealing as far as color, a better texture, to make it last longer on the shelf. Again, these are not typically to improve the nutrients, but it's to help production and make things last longer. Some of these food preservatives that you can find very commonly, aspartame is a sweetener, and it took 16 years and I believe 8 tries through the Federal Drug Association, so the FDA, to get it approved to be used in our foods. At 86 degrees Fahrenheit, aspartame breaks down into wood alcohol, formaldehyde, and formic acid. And if you look at labels, it is in a lot of foods. So that is one that people are probably pretty well aware of. There also is high fructose corn syrup, which is in many products. And the corn that is used to make high fructose corn syrup is bathed in a solution that contains mercury. Mercury is also found in fish and other products and is a big toxin. It really hurts your nervous system. Other things that people have heard of is MSG. It's used as it enhances taste. Also, benzoic acid. If you look at the back of a soft drink, that's in there, and that's another additive. Food coloring. Most food colorings are made from coal tar or petroleum. So those are things that are also in your food. There are lots of toxins in our water from the pharmaceuticals. So if people have been taking drugs that aren't fully absorbed, that ends up in our water along with the insecticides and the pesticides and everything else. Depending on where you live and you're exposed to all the pollution in the air that you're inhaling, that also is getting into your body. So luckily our bodies have some built-in mechanisms to deal with some of this. What happens and how your body deals with it starts even in your saliva. When you eat, it goes into your stomach. Stomach acids do kill some of the toxins. Another way is in your intestines. Your intestines are 30 plus feet long, and they are very selective at trying to absorb only the nutrients and keeping those toxins in the intestine to eventually pass through in the stool. However, when we overload our system, some of that is going to be absorbed into the blood. When the toxins are absorbed into the blood, they do go through the liver, and the liver is a powerhouse as far as detox goes. In the liver will try and take care of these toxins in a couple of different ways. It does have enzymes that will try and break the toxins to make them either less toxic, or to put them into a form that is considered water soluble, so then they can be excreted through the kidneys. And if it can't break the toxins apart, it will kind of clump them together, again, to make them less toxic. Then if they do go to a water soluble form, they go through your kidneys, and then your kidneys are able to filter those out into the urine, and you can excrete them that way. So you can see that the body is set up to take care of a lot of this, but we do overwhelm our system, and so we need to find different ways to deal with all the toxins that we take in. Another way that our body, fortunate and unfortunate way that our body takes care of toxins is a lot of the toxins are fat soluble. So what we do is we store them in our fat cells in order to keep them away from the other tissue. And then your fat cells want to dilute that, and so they want to accumulate more fat. So this is one way that we protect ourselves, but we're also causing ourselves bigger problems. So when we get back, I want to talk about 2 different treatments or procedures that you can go through that will help with detoxification. And in another episode, we will talk about diet, which is also a huge contributor that we can control when it comes to detoxification. So when we come back, we will have a guest with us. Welcome back. So today we are talking about how we are exposed to many toxins and how we can help our body deal with the toxins that we are exposed to and how we can get rid of them. So today we have Sue Horton with us. Sue is a licensed pharmacist and has been for the last 35 years. She is also the founder and the owner of Central Iowa Compounding in Urbandale, Iowa. And so there at Central Iowa Compounding, they do a lot of different things. They are Pkwy certified for sterile and non-sterile compounding, which basically is the highest accreditation for a pharmacy. In addition to compounding, they have many pharmaceutical grade supplements, essential oils. They have lots of reading material to help educate patients. And in addition, they have several treatments. And 2 of the treatments are what I want to talk about today because they can help with detox. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So the first one that we're going to talk about is the far infrared sauna.
Okay.
So what is that?
Well, there is the electromagnetic spectrum of energy or frequency wavelengths, and everything is on that spectrum from visible light to X-rays to UV light, and then there's a spectrum in there called far infrared. And this is non-visible light, but it actually generates heat. And so what happens with the far infrared sauna, it's more like a dry heat. We heat the sauna up, the patient goes in the sauna, and it will actually heat your body. It penetrates your skin about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, and it actually heats up your body 1/2 degree to a degree. When you do this, that stimulates the detox process. So heating up your body will stimulate it, just kind of like when you have a fever, you know, to help burn off different viruses and stuff. So it will stimulate your natural defense, and it will also it will help then your body to detoxify through sweat, urine, and stool.
Okay.
So with 3 different ways with the sauna, and it's a very pleasant heat. It's around 130 degrees on average. Sometimes we start people out lower at like 120 if they're real toxic. They may only be able to take short periods of time in there. And we've gone all the way up to 140 degrees once somebody has had several treatments.
And how is that different than like the dry sauna or the wet saunas?
The steam saunas actually can increase your the temperature between 180 and 200 degrees, so that's much higher. And anytime you get over 140 degrees, you can increase your blood pressure, which, you know, could be a contraindication in people. Besides increasing your detoxification process, the sauna also will increase your immune system by increasing white blood cells and natural killer cells to help your immune system. It also is used in cardiovascular conditioning, because when you heat your body up, your blood will leave the organs and go down to the extremities, and it actually increases your metabolism, so it can actually help burn calories. It increases your cardiac output. They use it as conditioning for astronauts who have to spend extended time in space. And so that's one of the other applications for it. Also for pain, if there's pain or injury in an area, if you increase the blood flow to that area, it can heal quicker. So you can use it not only to detox, but to help with pain and inflammation.
Reasons.
And
Okay.
Yeah.
So if a patient were to come in, how does that process go? How long are they in the sauna?
It depends on the patient, and we kind of sit down with them and kind of look at what they're looking for, why are they wanting it. We have a lot of Lyme's patients who come in, and we have to be very cautious with them, start at a really low temperature for shorter periods of time, because you don't want to release too many toxins at once. It can make people not feel well. They need to be hydrated, drink plenty of fluids when they come in. They also should be drinking during the sauna, and then afterwards your body will continue to detox for about 48 hours. So it's really important to hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Okay.
Because if you do not, you can feel almost flu-like symptoms if you're dehydrated, because your body's trying to get rid of those toxins. And
so then how often do patients
They don't recommend it sooner than 48 hours, because one treatment kind of lasts for 48 hours. So most people, maybe 2 or 3 times a week to start, and then after that they can do maybe a maintenance once a week.
Okay.
And it just kind of depends. It depends on their progress, depends on how they feel afterwards.
And anybody who should not use the infrared sauna?
People with uncontrolled high blood pressure, they don't recommend it for pregnant or nursing. Hemophilia, which is a blood disorder, those are kind of the basic ones to watch out for. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the far infrared sauna. So let's talk about the aqua detox, which is a foot detox.
Right.
Is that right? Okay.
Right. It's like putting your feet in a warm bath. It takes about a half hour. The bath or foot bath is hooked up to a machine called an aqua detox, and it has an array that sits down in the water. It looks like a little metal type of thing. And what happens is that, like you talked about, the cells have a cell membrane, and in and out of this cell membrane, they need to bring good stuff in, like water, oxygen, nutrients, and then out of the cell membrane needs to come the bad stuff, the toxin and the waste from the cells. And there's a fine ionic balance between positive and negative ions that helps this process called osmosis. So good stuff in, bad stuff out. Well, when you put your feet in the water and with this array, it creates an ionic current that resonates with our body, because our bodies are 70% water. And so think of it as helping rebalance the cells with the positive and negative ions, because when you have toxins that when they come into the cell, one of the ways the cell tries to rebalance itself is it will lose ions to the toxins. They're, and so they're kind of robbers. The toxins kind of rob the cells of these positive and negative ion balance, which makes the cell unhealthy. So when you're flooding your body with all these ions, it's like, thank you, you're bringing this back in and you're helping the body release the toxins. And then because we have 2,000 pores in each foot, it actually will come out through the pores in the feet.
Okay.
And the water color will change.
Okay.
Yes.
And so talk about the color changes. That indicates certain...
Well, the company will not go out on a limb and say that, because every different water source, like if you just put the array in the water and put tap water in there or distilled water or purified water, because of the metal in the array and the minerals in the water, it will naturally change colors. Okay. And so like if I did it at home versus at my pharmacy, it could look different just based on the water source. But if you do it consistently at the same place like we have for years, you kind of, work with other practitioners and get some indication, well, if it's a little on the brownish side, we're probably helping the liver detoxify and, things like that. So,
And with that, how often do people use that? Same amount of time
Same
as
amount
the
of time,
sauna?
about every 48 hours. And most people will do what's called a 6-pack. So they'll purchase 6 sessions and do that over a 4 to 6 week period.
Okay.
Just to kind of help their body. And then maintenance could be, you know, once a month or...
Okay.
We have some people that come weekly. We have some people that come twice a week religiously because it makes such a difference in how they feel energetically, just cognitive function, aches and pains.
Okay. Okay. So, as you can see, there are 2 different treatments at Central Iowa Compounding, the far infrared sauna and the aqua detox, that can be a nice additive to your detoxification diet and everything else you're doing to try and eliminate those toxins in your body. So if you are looking for these treatments, Central Iowa Compounding is located in Urbandale, Iowa, the suburb of Des Moines. And this is Sue Horton. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Have you been experiencing any of the following symptoms? Brain fog, problems concentrating, problems focusing, allergy symptoms, GI symptoms such as reflux, diarrhea, constipation, low energy and fatigue, joint pain. If you have, and if you eat a lot of prepackaged foods, non-organic vegetables and fruits, if you drink a lot of soft drinks, you could be experiencing an overload of toxins. So if this sounds like you could definitely benefit from a detoxification and learning all about how we burden our system. So join us on Dr. Heidi Show, and we'll teach you all about toxins and ways that you can deal with it.